Hi everyone, thank you for having me here today. I am Farah, representing Center for Engineering Education, CEE Universiti Teknologi Malaysia. Today, I want to share the initial research findings of research that we done among engineering educators. My topic is Making Sense, Academic Change for Engineering Educators Transition Towards Student-Centered Learning. Okay, why we studied engineering educators transition to SCL? This is a good question because it offered us an opportunity to rethinking the educational practice back. Let's see, when faculty conducts trainings, the ideal expectation is to have a lasting change, a lasting impact, which means often faculty aims for transformation. But during training, there is emotional reaction towards new knowledge on student-centered learning. This expression is governed by norms, like institutional cultures. This norm is habitual and it is very challenging to be transformed. I refer to the work done by Paul Grady, which he claimed that if teaching practice in transition is to be transformative, thus it must address the issues of process and context to ensure the transformation development is inclusive. Let's try to understand the context of engineering educators. Engineering educators generally have experienced many things to develop competencies in teaching practice. They attended training. They are also required to design curriculum with student-centered learning as the core elements. Many of them even join activities related to teaching like exhibitions or webinars. They are also being evaluated for their competencies in teaching and receive top-down order from faculty to implement SCL. Therefore, to talk about transition, it is important to employ theoretical perspective that able to deliver explanations on how people respond to the change. This is why transformative learning theory by Mezirow is suitable to be used in this study to look into societal transition. For today's presentation, my focus is to talk about how we delve deeper on learning done by engineering educators as they try to internalize SCL into their existing practice. We work with two research questions, which are what are the meaning structure embedded among engineering educators towards the urgency for student-centered learning, and what are the level of SCL usage as learning innovations among engineering educators? The research questions were developed with a purpose to design educational training for engineering educators that address cultural epistemic and institutional cultures. This is why the research questions were developed based on initial assumptions to look into what we, engineering educators, rationalizing the push for SCL and how they are experiencing the transition process. This study employed exploratory research design using critical discourse analysis as research methodology. By using CDA, it allows us to look into the social practices surrounding the discourse practices. Therefore, it helped to make a critical assessment of the roles the problematic situation plays in current social structures. That is, the structures to maintain the status quo between educators, faculty members, students, and the practice SCL itself. We have 12 engineering educators as the participants from different higher institutions with different levels of implementing SCL in teaching and learning. The research method we use in this study is focus group discussion, and each discussion happened between 2 to 3 hours. As for the analysis, we adopt concern-based adoption model CBAM by integrating transformative learning theory by Mezirow as the theoretical perspective to support the model during analysis. When developing the interview protocol for FGD, I developed this question using Pratt's frameworks on teaching conception. So the question aims at three things: actions, intentions, and belief. For action, basically the question addresses what do you do when instructing or teaching. For intention, what do you try to accomplish in your instruction or teaching? As for belief, what do you believe about instructing or teaching? The questions are semi-structured, and the basis of prompting is to gauge for their reflexivity on SCL as suggested by Mazzero. We ask about history for their understanding or learnings about active learning. We ask also about their teaching practices, their understanding or their views on knowledge developments, on how they articulate learning about student-centered learning. And last, we also want them to address issues in implementing student-centered learning. After completing the data collection and finish with transcription, we begin the analysis using a diagnostic tool known as Concern-Based Adoption Model, CBAM, which was developed by Hall and Hart in 1987. It is a well-known diagnostic tool to use for evaluating training or innovation. I did some modification from its early version, but following transformative learning theory, concern is part of meaning structure, and exploring meaning structure provides more in-depth scope into unresolved issues among participants. I did maintain with the analysis the level of use for SCLs among educators. From both analyses, the intended outcome is to come out with innovation configuration map, which this map will be able to tell us, the trainer, on the expected action and behavior for changes. When using critical discourse analysis, CDA, the study wants to understand power, oppression, imbalanced social, vested institutional interests, resistance to change, and anxiety among engineering educators. During analysis, it is important to identify the unit analysis. Another modification is made on CBAM model. The analysis is supposed to begin with analyzing stage of concern and followed by level of use. The steps were discrete, but in this study, we take a slight detour in which the analysis were done simultaneously between meaning structure and level of use. So I begin with line-by-line analysis and come out with episode-by-episode analysis as well. It is a plenty of works done for this data. Every line of the transcription were analyzed for their intention, belief, and action toward SCL. While analyzing this, I also look further into meaning perspective and meaning schemes. For instance, when I identify action, I need to revisit again this action to understand its emergence, its values, its agencies, and actors that involve, and many more. The need to look into these matters are based on what is being recommended by Mazzero and also the outcomes that we want to achieve when employing critical discourse analysis. When analyzing on how well they use SCLs in teaching, we are not only interested to know the character for implementing SCL. For example, I knew about SCL, but I don't see any differences between SCL and what I already did. But we also want to understand the reason on why these statements emerge. You may see here that there are two absent indicators, which are preparations and renewal. And both stages involve reflection on knowledge and teaching, which is interesting. This leads us to an interpretation where the educators did make a preparation for teaching. For example, for mechanical use, but this preparation depends more on professional behavior rather than knowledge. It is because they realize that the preparation is part on how they should conduct themselves to deliver SCLs to meet the expectation from the faculty. There are 3 episodes identified that become the participants' frame of reference when they talk about student-centered learning, which are on practice, in practice, and for practice. Within each episode, the agent, which are the actors that identified, were self, faculty, student, and SCL practice. The red color coding are the dominant reflexivity they had with SCL transition, in which this study claims as blockage to transition. This might not sound nice, but they are symptoms of system of oppression that operate through academia with the flooding emotional attachment made to SCL transition. The prevalence of the imposter phenomenon signals the need for more structural change in engineering faculty. In this situation, the participants exhibit emotional struggle as they are not belong to or not adequate enough for faculty standards due to their own uncertainty about SCL. Once we identify the nested imposter phenomenon, what we did next, we tried to look further on the context for action and what mediates this action. This is what we call for micro and meso analysis stage. This is when the analysis starts to study on agent and agencies. During this stage of analysis, we need to revisit the actors and their agencies. We want to learn about conflicting views they hold against SCL practices because the objective is to reach an understanding about the habitual discourse and practices. When we try to interpret professional behavior, for instance, we need to understand what issues carried by these professional behaviors and what role these issues plays for educators, faculties, and even to the SCL practice itself. The final analysis comes out with 8 meaning structures, as you can see on the pictures, but it is not in stage or hierarchical order. These findings only shows the different types of meaning structures existed among the participants. In some studies, they also mention this as a companion meaning, in which the companion meanings that participants constitute in their practice as they are conducting or try to internalize what is SCL. This table shows the overview of the research findings. From this, you may see growing structural consensus on SCLs from pre-contemplation to immersion. So how are you going to read this table? It is very interesting to see how from the pre-contemplation, they started with the uncomfortable feelings. And then there will be also a phase where they begin to have an emotional acceptance, meaning that they have a good feeling about their choice for making a change. And there is also another side of negotiate for consistencies where they have an awareness on the contradictory belief and ideas about SCLs that being proposed to them by the faculties and SCLs that they are being practiced and also SCL that they think they have in their existing practice. I just want to share an example from the findings. These are lecturers' responses during discussion. It is very interesting to see the dynamic of responses, although some of them are negative feedback. Like personally, they does not object the faculty guideline, but they reluctantly agree with the idea of SCL delivered by faculty. But these genuine responses received from them help the study to engage with the issues of cognitive optimistic as they try to make a move adopting SCLs into their existing practice. After this phase of data analysis, we hope to begin works from education trainers' perspective. The initial findings will be triangulated and used again for this stage. And for the work in progress, we want to seek the appropriate ways to assess the faculty members' responses towards the transitions. We also hope to tailor facilitations according to individual change process for transformation. Because at the end, this study wants to develop the innovation configuration map, which is the IC maps. The IC map will illustrate different ways that transition toward student-centered learning can be meaningful for academic change among engineering educators. Thank you for listening to my presentation. My intention for sharing today is to receive feedback and comment for further improvement that I may have overlooked during the process. Let's hear your opinions. Thank you again.